Ladies and gentlemen, let me read something to you from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It's going to be short. It says, love bears all things. It believes that all things will work out hopefully. And it endures through all things. It never fails. But where there are prophecies, they shall fail. Where there are tongues, they shall cease. Where there is knowledge, it will disappear. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But that which is perfect will stay, and that which is in part shall be done away with. Remember, I told you that Wonder Woman is all about love. And here's the description of love. Love is able to bear almost any situation. Is able to persevere through any situation because it believes and hopes for all things. This was Wonder Woman. She had the hope. And she had the love that drove her to bear the burden of the world on her shoulders as she tried to find a way to end a war and have peace. I don't want to go into too much more, but just to say, it does not fail. Love will never fail. When everything seems to have disappeared, love will still be there. Because where there's life, there's love. Because somebody got to love the living thing to keep it alive still. It ain't going to stay alive on its own. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Now, presently there is faith, hope, love. These three. But the greatest of these is love. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Love is the key to life. I mean, everybody knows this. Everybody knows. Anybody who got a relationship with anybody, if you have a relationship with your spouse, you know love is the key here to keep that relationship going correctly. Not sexual love, not just an attraction, no. A love that joins you together, that you feel obligated always throughout your life to have the best, to wish the best, and to try to do the best for the person that you love. See, love's a thing when you have kids that makes you take all your money and punch it into them for their future. All of a sudden your focus is no longer on yourself, but it's on their lives. You want to see them prosper. You want to see them do well. You want to see the best things happen to them. All of a sudden, your life don't matter as much as their lives do. And this is how we know it's love. We even see it with animals when they care for their young. And they'll defend to the death to make sure that their young have life. Only love allows animals and things to do these things. If you ever watched The Matrix, I think it was Reloaded, when Neo was trapped in that loop, he was speaking to two programs. And one program, to preserve his daughter, he went under the Merovingian. I don't know if you guys know anything about these characters I'm talking about, but here's the bottom line. The program told him, I love my daughter. And he was like, you're a program. How can you have love? He said, love is a word. The word describes a relationship. There's nothing I wouldn't do to save my daughter's life, though it seems she has no purpose. And in my world, if you don't have a purpose, you must be deleted or destroyed. So to preserve my daughter's life, I give myself over to the Merovingian. So you have to understand, love is a relationship thing. It goes beyond feeling good. It goes beyond emotions. It is a tie, a connection between one person and another, where one person will not do, there's nothing that person wouldn't do for the other person. There's no level that person wouldn't go because of the connection. And that's what this Bible is talking about here in 1 Corinthians 13. I like to break it down for people because a lot of people think of religious things and God and the Bible and Jesus and Christianity as some dogmatic thing where people are not really thinking. They're just brainwashed into thinking about principles and ideas. So I try to break it down for you guys before I hit you with the Wonder Woman stuff. Because believe it or not, Wonder Woman actually falls into line with all of these principles I'm speaking about. When you watch the movie with those eyes. See, the things that really matter in life. And I may seem like I'm preaching and I'm doing a ministry to you guys. It's because I really am. It's part of why I'm born. It's my purpose. But you must be able to see these qualities and attributes. There are certain reasons why we are drawn to certain comic book characters, which leads me to the comic book character I will be discussing along with Wonder Woman. I just recently watched Captain America, The First Avenger again. Hell of a film. Such an incredible film. I just watched it this morning. What a great film. I mean, it's just a fantastic film. So anybody compares, I think it's one of the best Marvel films out there. Every time I watch that film, it gets better and better for me. I cried in that film. I felt for Steve Rogers. I don't know what's my connection with Steve Rogers, but the actor Chris Evans played that Steve Rogers so well. And the special effects in that first Avenger were actually spectacular. They were absolutely wonderful special effects. I also like the villain, Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving, who was also Agent Smith in The Matrix. Did an excellent job, in my opinion. Of course, the final fight scene could have been a little bit more spectacular, but it is what it is. So, at the end of the day, I really liked Captain America, the First Avenger. And again, the qualities and the attributes that he exhibit, they have some overlap with Wonder Woman. And what this video is going to do, you notice, by the way, that I didn't say, if you want to know more about God, just ask him. Or if you want to know more about Jesus, just ask him. I didn't say that this time in this video and in a couple of videos before. And the reason is, by now you should have some sort of interest in God or in Jesus and just wanting to know about them. You may not believe anything about God and Jesus, and you don't have to. I saw somebody comment about God, John something John is his name. He's a Wonder Woman fan. And he just came out of the clear blue. My video was a totally different topic. It was about attributes. I think it was something on Proverbs. And I was just breaking it down, you know. And dude just came straight out and said, God is just a construct by man. And blah, blah. He just kind of blurted it out, everything. And I'm like, all right, homie. Whatever makes you sleep at night. I don't really care. You know, you don't have to blur it out to me, bro. Just because I'm a Christian, you don't have to blur it out to me, okay? You got to understand something. I'm not one of those people who going to try and convince you and argue with you about whether you believe in God or not. That's not my job. My job is just to present information to you guys, and you do whatever you need to do with your life. If you feel provoked to want to say something, you can go ahead and say it. I ain't going to stop you. But don't expect me to argue with you over that incident, because it's not something I can argue with you. It's something you have to experience for yourself. And if you didn't experience it, then whoopie-doo. Then it probably wasn't for you. Maybe you have to make it through life a different way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at nobody. If y'all feel I'm on a crutch and I'm on a crutch about Jesus and God, fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I ain't going to stop you. I know what I know. Okay? I just share principles of life with you guys. You can either agree with me, or you can just mosey on, or you can make a comment and move on. I really don't care. It's not that deep, folks. It's not that deep for me. I learned that some things in life are just things you have to experience. It's just what it is. It's like riding a bike. I could tell you how to argue. I could argue with you. No, you ride a bike this way and blah, 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 blah. It ain't gonna make no difference until you jump on the bike and ride it for yourself and fall down and all of that. People have to brace you up and you actually have to learn. It's like learning how to walk. I can tell you how to walk, but until you walk, It really don't matter. We could argue about it for years. It's something you have to do. You have to know for yourself. You have to be convinced for yourself. Like I said, I ain't here to convert nobody. Okay? If you're curious or you're interested, you will find out for yourself. I directed you straight to where I talk to. I talk to God directly. I don't beat around the bush. I ask him questions directly. Now, if you think I'm mad, fine. I don't really care. But how did I get to know this information? Yes, I'm a researcher. Yes, I dig deep into things. But how come I'm going into scripture and giving you this knowledge the way you never heard nobody tell you? Huh? Okay. So if you never heard nobody tell you like this, obviously I was talking to somebody and it ain't myself. Alright? And I can tell you the story about that, but that's another story for another day. Alright? That's a story for another day. It was paranormal. Okay? So whatever y'all want to think and believe is fine. But for me, I already know what I stand for and what I believe. So don't feel a how if you don't agree with me. Don't feel a how about it. You don't need to blurt out to me about nothing. If you don't like what I talk about, skip to the part you want to hear. I don't care. See, you got to understand something. Now, why did I say I don't care? I don't care about arguing with people. I don't care about fighting over issues where it ain't something that I could even argue and win an argument with you about. These are things you just got to do for yourself. And if you don't do them, you don't do them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to be less cool to you. I'm not going to be somebody who's just going to distance myself. Oh, you don't want to be converted, so therefore I'm going to just have nothing to do with you. I don't move like that. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're still a human being. I'm still a human being. We still got to get along with each other in this world. So don't take it personally, folks. Okay? Don't take it personally. I'm not here to try and convert nobody to nothing. That's God's job. If you are interested in what I'm saying, it seems to make sense, you're going to go check it out for yourself. Regardless of whether you checked it out before or not, it'll make you recheck it out for yourself. And my goal is this. My goal is to teach and show people things they never seen before. Now it's up to them if they want to check it out more or not. Okay? So if I'm talking about God and that offends you for some reason, go check out your background. Maybe something happened to you where you felt it was a bunch of rubbish, this God thing. I get it. Quite frankly, all the word God means is a shortened form of the word good. And devil is evil with a D on it. I'm just saying. You understand what I'm saying? So when you say something is good, you're basically saying something is God. And if you say something is evil, then you're saying something is a devil. I'm trying to break it down so you guys can understand that these things are not necessarily physical, tangible things. And just because they're not physical and tangible don't mean they don't exist. See how easy it is? It's real easy. This God thing. This devil thing. It's real easy. I make it easy for you guys to understand. If you are a person who gets jealous of other people rather quickly, is that a good thing or bad thing? We call you guys stalkers. You had a relationship with somebody, you jealous now that they got somebody else and you following them everywhere. Is that a good thing or bad thing? In society, it's scary because if you start following the person, we call you a femme. If you're a woman, a femme fatale. If you're a man, I don't know what they call it, something fatale. Because you might kill the person in the end. And this has been a common thing. Okay? That ain't good, right? That's evil, right? Okay then. So we say the devil is actually setting a trap for you to go down the gauntlet. But if you somebody, you had a relationship with someone, didn't work out, you moved on, even though you still feel like attachment to that person, and you went on and you did some constructive things with your life. We call that doing something good with yourself, right? So we say God's behind that. You dig what I'm saying? You dig it? You dig it? You dig it? You feel my vibe now? You feel my vibe? You feel me? It ain't that deep, folks. It ain't that deep, folks. Now you could say it just the way how I just said it, or you can say it the way how some religious folks say it, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Because see, good is actually something that is intangible. And bad or evil is something that is also intangible. We can look at something and say, that apple is good for me to eat now. But it don't mean that the apple is always good. It could be that you just went and you're dehydrated severely and you eat the apple, which is sweet, and it's bad for you because you were diabetic and you use a whole set of cake and you then went and eat an apple on top of it. So not always is the apple good. It is situational. So you can't look at any tangible thing, any visible thing, any physical thing and say absolutely that this thing is good or evil. It goes for words. It goes for a lot of things. Words are not tangible things. Yes, you can read words on a page, but and you can hear the sound of words, but if you just thinking thoughts in your head, they're not tangible stuff. Yes, you got neuronal signals moving through you, but they ain't tangible. They're not graspable. You get what I'm saying? We have been able to get technology that can monitor, that can influence thought processes, that can see dreams to some respect and put out imagery. We have all this tech. But still, we cannot capture the soul of a person. If you can capture the soul of a person, you can capture the life of a person. If you capture the life of a person, then you can create life, and you can also extend life. People can buy packets of life and live on and on and on forever. We haven't been able to do that, right? Because life is not a tangible thing. It is an intangible. And again, I'm going to some real deep things before I even go into this Wonder Woman slot here, but I'm gonna permit myself to do this video, and as long as it be, I don't care. We're gonna go there with this video. You see, you have to understand that intangible things are spiritual things. Love is a spiritual thing. Nobody can see love. No one can see it. We can see the effects of love, but we can't hold love and grasp it in our hands. It's not tangible. Not something I can store up love over here and then spend it over here. It doesn't work like that. It's a quality. And it actually gets stronger with use. A person's character is not a tangible thing. A person's life is not a tangible thing. Your mind is not a tangible thing. So when we talk about spiritual things, aka invisible things, we're talking about intangible things. And they're all around us, and they happen all the time. And they influence us, and we influence others using them. Okay? So I broke it down as simple as it is, because it's an everyday thing. It happens all the time. All the time it happens. And what these movies do, especially superhero movies, why we like our superheroes are because of the intangible things, the qualities, the courage, the wisdom, the love, the kindness, the bravery of our heroes. They epitomize some of the intangible things that we aspire to have. Including they look cool and they got superpowers and they can kick ass, right? Alright, let's get into it now. This here is the most recent update of Wonder Woman here. If you look at her, this is anime. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poster here. I love it. There's the shield. There's the sword. Okay, there she is. It's anime version of Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot, sorry. There's Steve Trevor in the background there. Pretty dope. Queen Hippolyta. Or Hippolyta. Or Hippolyta. right? We got the soldiers in the background. We got a house up on the top there. We got the blue skies. I love it. Wonderful stuff. And done for Warner Brothers as well. That was one of the recent updates there. And then we also have Antiope, which is Queen Hippolyta, or Hippolyte. They call her Hippolyte too, or Hippolyte. It depends on how you pronounce the name. But this woman was a beast. I mean, look at the sword she's using. Very similar to the sword of Athena. I'm not too sure if the swords look all similar. I'm not too sure. So, but there she is. And Empire, that magazine's got a whole background on Antiope and basically her story and so on. Robin Wright's character. Robin Wright looked beefed up like hell, man. She looked ripped. I mean, she looked badass. I mean, Robin Wright was in Forrest Gump, if you guys remember. Excellent actor. Won Academy Awards and stuff like that. Really gets into character. So, expect a really stellar performance from her. She will be one of the principal characters in this movie, for sure. Hell of a fighter, too. Ooh, and I saw in one of the trailers. I think it was a very recent trailer from comicbook.com. I saw Queen Hippolyta. I saw her jump off that horse and spin and come in at them soldiers, boy. She looked badass. Damn. Anyway, I can't wait to see this movie. But we just gotta hold out. I'm seeing if IMAX in Trinidad, if they got tickets on sale. If they do, I'll be the first in line to get one. But anyway, let's just keep it moving here. Let's keep it moving. So, I wanted to talk about Wonder Woman with respect to herself and Captain America, the first Avenger. That movie. Oh my gosh, that's a great movie. I told you, I don't know if I told you guys, but I watched that movie, man, this morning. I cried. There wasn't much humor in the movie, actually. The movie's so wonderful, you know. I watched that movie. I believe it's. I think if it ain't the best Marvel movie out there, it's one of the best Marvel movies out there, because that movie was so incredible. It did so many different things. And it's set up for Cap to be able to match up with Iron Man in the future, because S.H.I.E.L.D. was talked about and all that. It's just Nick Fury was there in the future, and just, oh man, it's a great movie. And I see how some people see Wonder Woman, who is, of course, the first to administer justice. She's the first member of the Justice League. I can see how there are similarities between them after looking at the story of Captain America again. I advise anybody, go and watch the film Captain America. Anybody saying Captain America, the first Avenger, was a crappy Marvel film, they don't know anything about filmmaking. Okay? And quite frankly, The Winter Soldier, as much as they had, you know, conflict and stuff, and it was a great movie, I don't think it compares to Captain America, the first Avenger. I think Captain America, the first Avenger, produced by I just blanked out, so forget about it. The man who deals with Marvel Studios, the man in charge of Marvel Studios, was one of the best Marvel films I have seen. I think it's better than Iron Man, actually. I know people will disagree with me on that, but I think it's better than Iron Man. I know Iron Man came out before Captain America, the first Avenger, but I think it's better than Iron Man. Because a number of reasons. One, they went from the present time into the past, okay? They brought forth this story, which was just an amazing story. Amazing story. Because you got to understand, Steve Rogers wasn't a big, strong guy. He was a little guy with asthma. But he was determined. He was one determined little guy. He'd get his ass whooped. He'd get beat, and he would just come back. He wanted to get into the draft, and he tried, and he kept on going to different countries, calling himself Steve Rogers from different states, and he still failed the medicals. It's just such a hell of a story, man. The story in that thing is crazy, man. Crazy story. You know, and seeing Bucky tie in, and of course Bucky was there since the first Captain America comic. Bucky was on the face of the first Captain. Let's get into it, okay? because I'm all over the place. All right, so let's talk about Wonder Woman first. So Wonder Woman was actually published first, not in her own comic, but in the comic book, which was All-Star Comics number 8, as said here. And she was first appeared on October 1941 in All-Star Comics number 8. Then she had her own comic in Sensation Comics number 1, January 1942. She still never really had her own comic. She was in Sensation Comics. There's a collection of comics. She didn't really have her own comic, right? But interestingly enough, Captain America first appeared in his own comic. His comic was called Captain America. You can see right here. And he appeared in Captain America Comics number 1. Okay? And this was in March of 1941. Okay? He was actually in a comic called Timely Comics, which was the predecessor of Marvel Comics. So, let me just show you. First of all, this is Wonder Woman, All-Star Comics number 8. Okay? And you can see it's December to January. It was in October of 1941 that she came out in All-Star Comics number 8. And there she is, right? But in March of 1941, Captain America came out in his own comic, and this was the cover of it. Okay, so let's look at the motif of Captain America. He's straight up American. It's straight up about the war that's happening. So in 1941, Adolf Hitler is at the forefront. Okay, and Captain America, you see the stars here and the stripes. He definitely represents America. I mean, the name of him is Captain America, right? So he represents the stars and stripes. You see him with his shield, and you see the bullets bouncing off his shield. And he has on the red boots. You know, he has the costuming here. But notice he also has the eagle wings and the big A in the center of his chest. Okay, he has a hidden identity. Okay, now very importantly, Bucky, his young ally was Bucky. Now in the actual Captain America movie, Bucky was actually bigger than him physically, but and it was as old as he was. But nonetheless, here we have Bucky in the very first edition of Captain America. Okay, so when the film Captain America: The First Avenger came out, it harkened back to the original comic, the very first Captain America comic. Okay, so sadly, Wonder Woman didn't get the pleasure of having her own comic when she first came out. Okay, she was found inside of a comic known as All-Star Comics, and she came a couple months after Captain America came out. Both were in response to the war. Now, the difference is this. Both of them were to sell bonds, okay? But Captain America, okay, let me see if I can find what I'm looking for here. Right, Captain America here appealed to not just the people who were left back in America at home, but also he appealed to some of the soldiers in war. Now, Wonder Woman, you know, William Moulton, he was pretty smart, because let me tell you why. Wonder Woman appealed to the women because women were not allowed to go into World War II. They really didn't have a say, but they were people who were building the equipment, the planes. They were building a lot of stuff, and they were actually their own Wonder Woman for this war. They were providing all the supplies for the war. So they were also keeping America running. It's crazy what these women were doing, multiple things, all of. And Wonder Woman came out by Charles Moulton when you saw all these women doing all the tasks that men were doing, but yet they were considered the inferior sex. So Wonder Woman came out for two reasons. One, yes, she came out for the war, and so the people in the war would see, the soldiers, a woman, a lovely woman, etc. But also, Wonder Woman also came out for the woman left back from the war and the children that were left behind. Wonder Woman was a bestseller during the World War because of two reasons. And mostly men bought Wonder Woman, which is kind of weird. But, and children, right? Young children, especially young children. Wonder Woman made the case that women were just as capable of men. So her point for the context of the war, and interesting that she came out the same year as Captain America, was not just for bonds, but also to make a statement about women and that they could actually be in the war. Charles Moulton was talking about Wonder Woman, and she was helping the people win World War II because she was grounded in World War II. And Charles Moulton subliminally sending this message: women are capable of doing everything that the men in the war are doing. Because I am seeing evidence of this. They're running the United States of America while the men are off the war. They're literally keeping America running. So I thought that this is a powerful, powerful statement here that came at no better time. And it's interesting that it came around the same time as the legendary Captain America. So while America's interest was in seeing Hitler get knocked over, and that's why this actual issue came out in 1941, in which the war was starting to turn around, even though it took 4 more years after that before it actually ended. We had also on the home turf, Wonder Woman was inspiring women and little children, and it was putting in the little children's mind a change in the dynamic of how we think about war, how women should operate in war. To this day, women still are treated differently to men still in war. Okay, it's still tough. It's still an uphill battle that they don't get to do their fair share in a war and choose to do certain things, and they still have to do things much better than the men to be even selected. It's one of those things because people think that the men are physically stronger, etc., but it's not necessarily the case. You have to think of it as a person-to-person basis. Sometimes someone is not as strong as another person. Sometimes someone is not as tactical as another person. And that's the beauty of Wonder Woman. Okay? So this character was created the same year as Captain America, the first Avenger. Wonder Woman is the beginning of justice, as we say. So there are some parallels there. Okay? Now, of course, the Wonder Woman that's coming out in cinemas is going to be based in World War I, which is a little bit different. But still, the principles are more or less the same. So with Captain America, his close allegiance was to Bucky. Now, you might say, oh, homo vibes. Not really. Just like how Batman had Robin, Captain America had Bucky. And Bucky was kind of his sidekick. Okay? So that's all that's going on there. With Wonder Woman, unfortunately, they kind of limited her in a way where Wonder Woman had Steve Trevor. And you can see him right here. He was in the first issue. And, of course, he crash landed on Themyscira, and Wonder Woman saved him. And you see a man on Paradise Island. Quick, let's get him to the hospital, right? So, the first thing the Gal Gadot says is, you're a man. And then you heard even Linda Carter say, he's a man, right? So this comes from the very first issue of Wonder Woman. So everything here so far is keeping true to the original comics in these respects. But the motifs of Wonder Woman and the motifs of Captain America do have a lot of American motifs, but Wonder Woman goes a step further, okay? And I'm not trying to praise Wonder Woman over Captain America. Don't get it twisted. They both had their purposes for being iconic superheroes. And why did Wonder Woman blow up to become the greatest female iconic superhero and Superman the greatest male? I'm trying to give you the reasons why this is happening, okay? So while both had similar American motifs, you see the stars here, you don't really see obvious stripes, but it's subliminal, like the stripe here, stripe there, right? But Wonder Woman carries some gold on her. So she has this golden tiara, and it has a star in the middle. So she's starting to take up other attributes and values, like I said before. She has these bracelets or cufflinks or gauntlets instead of a shield. And she has the stripes subliminally put into her. And she also has the motif of the phoenix, the eagle, the hawk. So Wonder Woman goes way back into Greek lore, into Egyptian lore, into Sumerian lore, into Babylonian lore, into Persian lore. All the way back, this lore. L-U-R-E, by the way. So she's very, very ancient. You get that ancient feel with Wonder Woman all the time. Now, Captain America feels more modern. He feels like a character that's created for the times. He was created for 1942. He was a sort of propaganda campaign to stir up Americans to go to war against the Nazis. That was his major purpose. Wonder Woman's major purpose was not that. She was to inspire. She was to encompass values to help the world understand equality, fairness, justice, love. So while both characters were around the same time, they had different attributes and they were set up for different reasons. Okay? However, let us not understate the attributes of Captain America himself. Yes, he was a battle soldier, but he also had compassion. And you see it in the movie Captain America, the First Avenger. He was kind. He did not underestimate the given gift of having strength and height and speed and all of these super abilities. He was also selfless and courageous. And he was also one who would not give up. So for all of these reasons, Captain America encompasses some of the very values of American society, which is why Americans will literally stick to Cap and they will love him. Because basically the values that America holds is the values that Captain America holds, which is why he's called Captain America. And in the movie, he was there to sell bond stamps, which is really funny because literally that was the purpose of Captain America and Wonder Woman, to sell bond stamps as well. And they did ads for that. But in this movie, they actually acknowledge this and they give credit to the actual historical fact of why the character was there. And we see the character emerge out of that. Which, Kevin Feige, excellent job as a producer. The director of this movie, excellent job. The script on this movie was such a good script. I mean, I rain the praises on Captain America. If Wonder Woman can even come close to the effect that Captain America gives me, I'll be happy. You know, because it's not just action. A movie must have heart. So we'll see if Wonder Woman can do that. I don't know. But Captain America is my favorite Marvel movie of all time. I think only one that trumps it is Spider-Man. I think I'm beginning to have second thoughts on that. I think Captain America is better than Spider-Man, actually. But we'll see. I'll go back and watch Tobey Maguire again. And I'll be able to give you a verdict on that. By the way, the special effects on Chris Evans, making him small and skinny and asthmatic. Oh, just beautiful. 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 Oh. Anyway, I want to show you guys something extra because I'm really packing it in here. This is a lot of information. If you want to, you can speed up this video, right? And you just go into settings and you click on speed and you go to 2x, 1.5x, or 1.25x because this video is going to be long. It's going to be a long one, okay? All right, so, yeah. I was saying that the qualities that Wonder Woman espouse go a little bit beyond what Captain America does because we're coming from a woman's perspective. And Charles Moulton, I think he wanted to create something as a psychologist. Remember, he was a psychologist, where he would be able to affect the psyche of future generations, how women are. And so this movie, this character massages that quite well and transitions into some other things. And of course, I believe his wife and the other woman that was with them had a high influence in how he wrote this thing and how he created the character. And I wouldn't be surprised the character is actually based off of his wife and her friend. Okay? But remember, this is around a time where women have proven that they can keep America running. All right? So even though Roosevelt was the dude who was trying to, stay with the war, and he was a sickly man himself, it's amazing how women kept America running. People don't talk about this, but in World War II, remember, most of the men were out there fighting, able-bodied men. Only the older men were there, and then the young little children, right? So the women ran the factories, the women ran the businesses, the women ran America. So women, understand you were capable of running countries. You should not be afraid to have a woman as your president. You are the blood force, the workforce, generally in most countries. In fact, currently in the world today, there are more women than men. There's 52% of the world is women. Okay? So give yourself more props. You are very important. In fact, Charles Moulton, he believed that women actually would be much more effective in certain positions of leadership than men are, because they're not necessarily confrontational. They're not trying to be at odds with everyone, and it's not just testosterone driven. It's more of estrogen driven, in which sometimes women tend to be more diplomatic in how they negotiate things, and they tend to get people on their side with their opinion, and they're able to work compromises and get things to work out. And Wonder Woman is such of a character. She's diplomatic, she's wise, she's deliberating. She doesn't use war and fighting as the first option. That's what Wonder Woman brings to the table. I can't say that for Captain America, but he is also kind, and he doesn't just want to kill people. If he has to kill people, he will. So Cap was known for his shield. Wonder Woman didn't begin with a shield. Okay? And if you look at Captain America's suit, while he does use guns and so on, Captain America's suit it has some structure to it. Okay? Alright, so having said that, I just wanted to go into the lore a little bit of Captain America and Wonder Woman, how they pair up with their movies. A lot of people were talking about also this Nazis again. Oh wow, we're gonna be against the Germans again, World War I. Well, truth be told, it's just part of history. The Germans and the Austrians were together fighting against the Allies. It's just what happened in World War I. And then they continued onwards in World War II. It's just what happened. Alright? So, if you're angry that we're going anti-Germany again, look, that's part of your history. Okay? Do white people feel horrors in America when we talk about slavery all the time? I'm pretty sure they do. But that's part of the history. You got to deal with it. It's just what happened. Okay? So, yeah, some Germans are going to get beat up. So what? Just what happens. Don't be mad. Alright? That's what happened with World War I and World War II. It is what it is. I love Germany. I love Germans. They're one of the awesomest people in the world when it comes to making stuff. But at the end of the day, these atrocities did happen, and it's just what it is. So don't feel a how about it. Just move on. Now, some of the nice, cool things about Captain America. I gotta say, here's Captain America versus Red Skull. Okay, you see Red Skull right there. Alright. And here he is throwing that shield. His shield is like awesome. By the way, his shield went from being this shape here to actually being circular. Alright, so that transition happened in time. I'll go through all of that in a minute. But here he is throwing the shield. It's really awesome. It bounces off the guy and it comes back to him, right? And actually, I think this is the story of Red Skull, actually, because this is the Tesseract, I think, down there. All right. Anyway, moving on. Here is Wonder Woman throwing his shield in. Not Wonder Woman. Oh my gosh. Wow. And there's Captain America throwing his shield, and look how beautiful that is. We see the comics come to life. Isn't that awesome? Look at it here. Here he's throwing that shield. And he's in the actual same suit. So awesome. So awesome. Alright. Now, in Captain America, he always comes through feet first, flying in. I'll never forget that. That's a signature move of Captain America. He flies in and he kicks everybody down. Whoosh! That's just a signature move of Captain America. And we got to see that in Civil War. There he is doing that two-footed kick, man. Doosh, doosh. Woo! You gotta admit, when you saw that on the screen, you gotta say, woohoo! There it is! And when he came flying in too, and he kicked a guy, I can't remember, he kicked him into a car or what, came flying in from the sky. That was so sick. I was so sick, because that's Captain America. There it is again. Signature move. This is him kicking the Hulk this time. Signature move. Okay, that's a Captain America move. And what is the signature move of Wonder Woman? Well, we've seen her incredible strength. Here she picks up a boulder. He says, you see, girls, there's nothing to it. All you have to have is confidence in your own strength. Right? And this is the earliest of the Wonder Woman there. Call that woman power, baby. And they literally picked up America and held it like an atlas in their hands. Right? Here she is. This is one of the Bronze Age Wonder Woman. And you can see her here. She jumps in front of a little child to save her life. And just stops this car in its tracks. Your mother must have gotten distracted by a window display, honey. She just leaps out the sky. That's a typical Wonder Woman move. She just leaps out the sky. Will I do? She stops the car and the car crunches into her and she like slams all the way up into the engine and stuff. It's crazy. I hope the driver didn't die. I know they don't got no airbag in this one. So it could be sudden death. It's crazy, man. She should have just deflected the car and then go with it, you know. But it is what it is. Yeah, so Wonder Woman's beast strong, right? She's a beast strong from the comics. And here she is doing her thing here. She picks up a tank and throws it. You're like, damn! She's very, very strong. In fact, she's as strong as Superman. She doesn't have the tough skin like Superman, because Superman's Kryptonian. So bullets don't necessarily bounce off of her. She can get cut, she can get bloodied, you know. But when it comes to strength, she's almost as strong as Superman, you know, because she's a god, or at least a child of a god, child of Zeus. Here she is ripping off the turrets from a ship. She rips off the turrets from a ship here. Freaking strong. That's Wonder Woman, baby. She's a beast. She is a beast. Alright, so let's talk about Wonder Woman's powers and abilities. Alright, we're going to look at Wonder Woman's powers and abilities. You can go to what is called Wiki. It's the fandom wiki, so fans actually kind of put the summation of her strengths and abilities there. And then we're going to look at Captain America's powers and abilities as well. Because I was having this discussion with someone online, and basically this person was saying this. I can't believe the people online, man. They're just so fanboyish, man. So there was this dude, he was saying, oh, you can see all the plot holes in this movie. This movie has a lot of plot holes from the trailers, Wonder Woman. He's hating on the movie, basically. So he says, well, Wonder Woman, look, she's riding a horse, but she can run much faster than a horse. Why is she riding a horse? And I'm like, dude, have you even thought about what you just said? And I come back to him and I say, look, dude, Iron Man, who's Tony Stark, he lets everybody know he's Tony Stark. He drives around in cars. He could have just fly wherever he had to go because everybody knows he's Iron Man. Why does he use cars still? Then why did Captain America in Captain America the First Avenger, as well as in Captain America Avengers movie, not Captain America Avengers movie, but Captain America Civil War and Captain America with the Avengers, why did he drive a motorcycle? Why did he ride a motorcycle? He could have run. He can run as fast as a motorcycle. Oh, you'll see anyway. You'll see what I'm talking about. I said, on top of that, he didn't even use the motorcycle. At a certain point in time, he just took the motorcycle and flung it at some people. He was riding it. He just came off the motorcycle. Literally came off the motorcycle and continued running and threw the motorcycle at his, his enemies. I'm just saying, look, superheroes can choose to do whatever they want to do. They don't have to do the same thing over and over again. They don't have to. They could fly. I'm sure Iron Man could fly anywhere he wanted to go. But sometimes he decides to go as Tony Stark in a car. Alright, on a boat, etc. But he's Iron Man. He don't need to do that. Right? Captain America, he didn't need to ride a motorcycle. We saw him in Civil War chasing down Bucky. And Black Panther was chasing down Bucky, and they were just running by cars, right? Both of them were just running. In fact, Black Panther jumped up on a car and leaped off the car and knocked Bucky off the motorbike, right? They caught up with Bucky. Both of them. They're that fast. right? So, you know, Captain America don't need to ride a motorcycle, but why not? Sometimes he rides a motorcycle. So what? He can do it. He don't have to only run. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know where these fanboys wired their minds are so wired a certain way, but it is just what it is with these people. You listen to them and you're like, dude, do you realize you're just hating? The movie hasn't even come out and you're just hating on the movie? But it is what it is. You know, you're going to have those people in the world. There's nothing you can do about it. And they can't see that they're hating. They can't see it. And they can't see that they're ready to apologize for their favorite characters. So his comeback was, dude, you an idiot. That's his response. I show him, by the way, I go and I get GIFs of each thing that I said. I showed him that, and he came back and told me his response was I was an idiot. So his response is to name call. Then he says, Wonder Woman moves with super speed. Supersonic speed. She don't need no horse. That's his thing. And Captain America don't move at supersonic speed. So I just want to show you guys the powers and abilities of Captain America and Wonder Woman. Because for some reason, sometimes, I don't know what is wrong with fandom. Some people with fans. Like you give them sound reasoning. You answer them. And these people, for some reason or the other, they're so aggressive too, man. They come back with the dumbest answers. Like, they haven't thought anything through. And sometimes I wonder, is it that this era or this time is about shouting the loudest? And if you shout louder than everybody else, then probably people are going to say, oh yeah, he's right! Like Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump is braying louder than everybody. He's trying to bully people. And that means he's right. Because he's so strong in his opinion, you know. I guess it's probably that, because I can't really understand. There was a time when people would actually deal with logic and reason. I'm still someone who deals with logic and reason. If you're correct about something, I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm going to acknowledge that to you. But if you're being an idiot, what am I supposed to do? And you're not even listening or appealing to logic and reason. What am I supposed to do? I'm not going to engage you. I'll just leave you alone. I already gave you my answer. Other people will come see what I answered, realize that the other person is an idiot, and just forget about them. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I saw last year, August, that some people actually put out the best that they saw in Batman v Superman. And I'm going all over the place, so you guys just bear with me. And where they had the arguments of the Martha scene, and the guy explained it so easily, and he was like, you know, when these people come out of switching off their brains and turn their brain back on for the Martha scene, I'll understand. And I'll give them this. The Martha scene was not the best executed scene, and it wasn't on Ben Affleck's part. Ben Affleck did a hell of a job. It was on the guy who plays Superman. God dang it, I just blanked out again. I don't know why this happens to me. Henry Cavill, there you go. It was Henry Cavill's execution, or their editing of the execution, that made it, you know, it was just kind of corny. It was kind of wacky and corny. He was like, kill mother. You know, it reminded me of Ricky Ricardo. Ricky Ricardo. That was the feeling I had. I was like, is this supposed to be comical? This is wacky. You know? And then he said, find him! Save Martha! Woo! It was hilarious, man. You gotta admit, it was funny. I thought it was funny, okay? It's just the way how it was executed, I think. It wasn't so much, I think, and it wasn't, why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? It wasn't that, really. That was perfect. I think Ben Affleck executed that very well. That's how you're supposed to execute it. And he kind of watched at him, and he was like, what the hell are you saying? What? And he was like, why did you say that name? He was saying, why did you say that name? Because he was like, what the hell? What angle is this? You know? So I could get where Ben Affleck was doing. I thought Ben Affleck pulled that off pretty good. I think it was Henry Cavill's part, which was a little bit wacky. It was like, what? And then Henry Cavill didn't look like how that was coming across. And maybe in reality that's how it would look. But when you're doing a drama on the screen, you have to send across a particular kind of feeling and message. I didn't get the feeling that Superman was in any agony at that point. Now, I saw Superman get kicked and stuff, and he was in agony. That was when he was fighting Batman, when they had broken through the roof. But on this occasion, I didn't see him looking like he was in agony. He was just so damn stoic. So maybe if he was grimacing, or even if Zack Snyder, because you got your boot on the dude's throat, man. If you got a boot on a dude's throat, pinning him down, dude's eyes got to at least close. Dude got to close his eyes. Dude got to skin up his face to get them words out if he can. Dude should have his hands all up on Ben Affleck's foot, trying to push that foot off. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get that feeling. It didn't feel right. So I get where Superman should have been choking under that thing. His eyes should have been blue. His face should have been blue. And I think the execution of that, it was too stoic, and then the voice was wacky as hell. I think that's what threw off that moment for some people, especially the haters. They were just, you can see them fuming all the way through the movie. Oh man, I gotta find something, because if you're not into the trying to find something to rip a movie to shreds with, obviously, you're not gonna see that moment as that. I mean, I cried. I literally had shed a tear on that moment, because to me it was like it came full circle. I understood why they showed the death of Batman's parents in the beginning of the movie, because it was his motivation for why he was even hunting down Superman. He didn't want to lose anymore. He didn't want other people to lose people close to them, and he was doing the very thing to ensure that people would lose people close to them. He just realized that. So I mean, it was just so awesome. But if you a hater, shit, and you try to tear a movie to shreds, and you already went in thinking, oh, this movie is trying to compete with Civil War, it must never succeed, because these motherfuckers, man, sorry about the cursing, these people came in to destroy this movie. Alright? Besides the critics tearing it down, before even that happened, there was so much hate towards this movie for months. I'm talking about since 2015. There was hate. When it came out in 2013, that was coming up against each other, there was hate. When the title came out, there was hate. When the characters or the actors were spoken about, there was hate. It was just non-stop hate for this movie, because Marvel had done its thing, and immediately Marvel fans were feeling intimidated by this movie, right? And it was like, it's stupid to have a versus film and blah, 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 blah. If you hear the hate that came out, and it was interesting because what came out next was Civil War, which was a versus film. and they advertised it at Iron Man versus Cap, and nobody said nothing. Nobody said anything ill about that. It was the greatest thing in the world. That's when I knew it was hate towards Warner Brothers, because they knew Boys on the Block, and they showing something really good in their second film, and they didn't like that. And I've seen the haters. I've seen the haters out there trying to tear down Wonder Woman. I understand. I respect that. You do what you got to do, because, just like the racists out here who feel intimidated, and so they need to make America great again. So you're going to purge America with all these people. Just so you guys also feel intimidated. You shouldn't feel intimidated, because Marvel built its own brand. Marvel's doing its own thing. The MCU is doing its own thing. You got all kinds of Marvel movies out here now. You got rated R Marvel movies. You got, rated PG-13 Marvel movies. You got comedy Marvel movies. You got space Marvel movies. What's your problem? Why are you insecure about your franchise? Why do you have to put down one to make your franchise look good? Why do you got to compare yourself to another franchise? You're an established franchise. Chill. Have confidence in what your movies are. Don't worry about the competition. Competition only makes things get better. So chill. Wonder Woman's gonna be fine. Let it go. It's not necessary. Look, I'm comparing Cap to Wonder Woman. Have I said anything negative about Captain America? Captain America, the first Avenger. In fact, my favorite MCU character right now is Captain America. That's my favorite MCU character. They compare Cap to Superman. They compare Cap to any. But Cap, to me, is my favorite MCU character right now. It's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man, the only Spider-Man I actually liked was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And Tobey Maguire had a sad story. And Tobey Maguire was one sad dude throughout Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? He was pretty somber. But I loved Spider-Man. And I loved all the Spider-Man animated series. I used to have a love for the very first Spider-Man I ever saw on TV, live action, when he was walking up those walls and things. I was like, wow, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I grew out of it, but the point is, it was a wow factor for a while. And my point is, you guys need to chill. You guys need to tone it down. Stop with the Marvel tardation. And y'all so retarded sometimes. Y'all hate and y'all don't even have a good reason to hate. You know what I'm saying? Y'all come up with these lame, really wacky reasons why, the DCEU is not good. Come on, man. Grow up. Stop it. Talk about your Marvel films. Look, I'm talking more about your Marvel films than you talk about your Marvel films. You're so busy trying to hate on DC films. It's stupid. And you just, after you hate on the DC films, you talk a little bit about your Marvel films, and then you go back to DC. What's your problem? You want to be a DC fan? What's your problem? Stop it. I'm glad Marvel's doing so well, because their characters are not as well known as DC characters. So they were able to take unknown characters and make them really, really well known. Besides Spider-Man, all them other characters was not well known. Alright? Iron Man became well known. Alright? Captain America was pretty big. He was pretty big. I'll be honest with you. Iron Man came out later. He was kind of big later. But Captain America was pretty big. I remember watching Captain America and Thor. Yeah. For the Avengers. Them guys, man. Them guys was the dudes. And the Hulk. Right? There are a lot of Hulk fans out there. But so far I'm not really convinced about the Hulk. I don't feel nothing for him. Because, see, I got spoiled by the Eric Banner of the 80s. The Incredible Hulk of the 80s with Lou Ferrigno. So for you to really impress me, you gotta, don't make the Incredible Hulk so animated. And he gotta have a certain face. The comics that I grew up with, the Incredible Hulk's face looked a certain way. So you don't make Hulk look like Hulk to me. How I see him in my mind. Sadly, my small little puny brain cannot accept him. I seem to be limited in how I see the Hulk, which is sad, but it is what it is. So I'm not impressed with the Hulk so far, and people are like blowing up Thor Ragnarok. I'm like, what? Fraggle Rock? Thor Fraggle Rock? Sorry about the mockery, but I just don't get it, man. Ragnarok seems to be some kind of great name, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That name in itself sounds really wacky, and just the whole trailer looks wacky. But hey, more power to you guys. If you like that stuff, fine. I don't want to buy my Thor Ragnarok. Maybe it'd be good. I don't know. It just did not appeal to me. I mean, it just like it went, woo, woo, no whammy, and stop. Woo. I don't know if some of you know what I'm talking about. You got to be in the 90s and the 80s to understand what I just said there. That has to do with a game show on Game Network was called Whammy. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. I'm all over the place. So let's talk about Captain America's powers and abilities and Wonder Woman's powers and abilities. Okay? So let's start off with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was the daughter of Zeus. Okay? She's extremely powerful. She's second only to Superman himself. She has super strength. Okay? She has incredible superhuman strength, though not quite on the same level of that as Superman, making her the second strongest member of the Justice League. She effortlessly flung a man across a room with a single swing, broke a gun apart, overpowered General Ludendorff, has overpowered and killed several beings from other worlds, fought evenly against the mighty god Ares, and was able to even match the much larger and stronger Doomsday, who staggered her tremendously with mighty blows, but Wonder Woman kept parrying massive punch from Doomsday with the sword of Athena. Remember the sword of Athena I was telling you about? And even knocking the monster's feet from under him with a mighty blow of her shield. She can make super leaps. She's able to use her incredible strength to jump immense vertical and horizontal distances. Flight. Wonder Woman is able to fly, seen briefly during the efforts of World War I. However, the extent to which she can use this ability is unknown. Okay, let's look at Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is a super soldier. Captain America is Steve Rogers, right? So he has artificially enhanced physiology. As a super soldier, Steve Rogers possesses enhanced human abilities such as formidable intelligence, strength, speed, senses, durability, agility, stamina, dexterity, and reflexes, as well as the accelerated healing factor. The SSS, which was the serum that he was injected with, healed all his ailments and physical and genetic imperfections instantaneously, giving him the body of a man in his physical prime. It also prevents him from getting intoxicated by alcohol. The serum metabolized and enhanced all Steve's natural anatomical abilities beyond the peak of human potential, pushing into early levels of superhuman condition. It permanently transformed a frail and sickly Steve into the perfect specimen of human development and conditioning. The SSS is definite. Even without training, Rogers' physiology surpasses that of any human being trained to their physical and mental peaks. Roger maintains an overall very healthy lifestyle, including a regular, extensive, and intense exercise regimen and a strictly balanced nutritional diet. This appears to have increased his abilities further, much like how it increases strength, physical appearance, and muscle control in non-enhanced humans. So let's go to his enhanced strength here. Roger's strength is immensely enhanced beyond the peak of human potential. His immense strength allows him to physically outpower combatants, including elite trained humans, extraterrestrial troops, and robot sentries. He can effortlessly bend metal bars, slam through solid walls and reinforced glass, and pry open steel doors. In combat, his strength allows for him to send enemies flying several meters in the air from mere punches and kicks. He can even generate enough force to have a shield pierce the metal frame of a Quinjet. However, his strength is no match against the likes of Hulk and beings from other realms such as Loki and Thor, who possess godlike strength, even when he's able to briefly hold Loki at bay, when the latter only trying to get him to submit. Nonetheless, his combination of strength, extremely effective muscle control, and highly refined combat skills makes him an incredibly formidable opponent to those that would try to attack him. During his USO tours, Rogers was able to lift a motorcycle frame from 3 showgirls sitting on top without any strain. With one hand, Rogers can lift a grown man over his head and throw him like a rag doll. He's also able to pull himself away from the immense magnetic force applied to his hand by a magnetic lock, which most others cannot achieve. Steve Rogers is also able to lift a massive metal support beam to save a trapped Winter Soldier while he was critically injured. He also supported falling debris from a collapsing building to save Black Widow and himself from being crushed. When chopping wood, Rogers ripped apart a block of wood trunk in half with his bare hands. He is able to throw a moving motorcycle at a jeep, toss Ultron, who was his second body, through a concrete pillar during their fight in Seoul. With considerable effort, he's able to support the weight of an entire car during Ultron's initial attack on Sokovia and stop helicopter piloted by Winter Soldier from lifting off by pulling on its landing gear. In Lagos, Russia kicked a pickup truck several yards with enough force to send an enemy soldier flying upon impact with his truck. Overwhelmed the superhumanly strong Spider-Man, thanks to his own strength in addition to his rigorous training, with his shield, Steve could dismantle the Iron Man armor with brute force. So he's really, really freaking strong. He may not be as strong as Wonder Woman, but he's freaking strong. Now you saw Wonder Woman pick up she picked up a tank and flung it, right? See, she's really strong because she's kind of godlike, okay? So she's like Thor and Loki and Superman. You know, those guys are really, really, really strong, okay? But Captain America, he can fight. He's very, very well trained as well. So like Wonder Woman, both of them, they're strong. Wonder Woman's not as strong as Superman, right? He's probably not as strong as Thor, but they can fight. So the fighting and their strength is enough to really take on anybody and really beat them up. Because Batman ain't strong like those guys. There's no way he's strong as them, right? He's a tactician, though. So, in terms of strength, Wonder Woman's stronger than she's stronger than Captain America, but both of them can fight, and both of them are very intelligent, so that they can use that to try and outsmart and find a tactical strategy. Of course, Captain America is the leader of the Avengers. In terms of super agility, both of them are very super agile. Super speed, this is the one that we had a dispute with, right? So they were saying that Wonder Woman has supersonic speed. First of all, in the movie Wonder Woman, she's going to be discovering her powers. This is nothing new because we see it in the synopsis, the summary of the movie. Wonder Woman, while not quite as fast as Superman or the Flash, can move at considerable superhuman speeds, successfully using her reflexes to deflect most attacks with her bracelets, also known as gauntlets or couplings, even bullets, as she's fast enough to see them flying in the air as they're moving in slow motion. But you're going to realize Steve Rogers can do more or less the same thing. I don't know if Steve Rogers or Captain America is as fast as Wonder Woman. I don't think so. But what I can tell you is they're roundabout the same kinds of speed. So for this dude, when he was saying that she has supersonic speed, I never really saw Wonder Woman have supersonic speed. She's super fast. Superman's also super fast, but he's not supersonic speed fast. Alright, the Flash and Quicksilver, they are fast, okay? However, like Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, they have sufficient speed that if they're not recognizing that they're coming, you know, or on their A game, or not on their A game, but just on aware of being ambushed, they can catch them, right? Catch them with a hit or shot or something. Thus, she was fast enough to disarm an attacking man of his gun before he fully realized it. She was able to leave Lex Luthor's fundraiser before Bruce managed to reach her. She was able to use the God Killer sword to strip apart in mid-air a car that Doomsday hurled at her. She also appeared as a blur when charging back at Doomsday after being knocked back. Remember when she was knocked into this thing with her spear and she just went, and she just went back at him. She was pretty fast. She's very quick. Steve Rogers has to build up the speed. Wonder Woman can instantaneously get to top speed. Okay, that's the difference between Wonder Woman and Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. So Captain America has to build up the speed. You remember, he's an enhanced human. She's not necessarily human. She's not completely human, at least. She may be part human, maybe. But she is not complete human. She is kind of a god. So she can move pretty fast. Not as fast as the Flash. Not as fast, maybe a little slower than Superman. But she's fast. Okay? So let's go to Captain America in terms of speed. So Steve can run and move at speeds beyond the peak of human potential, moving into the early levels of superhuman conditions. So in terms of superhuman or superhuman condition, he, for instance, he can keep up with most standard vehicles and cover a small area such as city blocks within a short period of time. All right, we know this because we saw him in Civil War running behind Black Panther and overtaking vehicles. Right. Also, he was quick enough to surprise Quicksilver and knock him out with his shield. Okay, so he's pretty fast because Quicksilver is fast. Okay, but he caught Quicksilver, I guess, unawares. I don't know how he did that, but he was quick enough to do that. However, Winter Soldier and Black Panther are able to rival his speed, and while the latter could easily outrun him in a chase due to their head start, forcing him to resort to hijacking a car to catch up, he still caught up with them, right? So, in terms of speed, Steve Rogers is not that backward. He's not that much slower than Wonder Woman. She may be a little bit faster than him, but at the end of the day, he's Captain America, Black Panther, and Bucky. They are about the same speed because they're all got the super serum. Well, I don't know for Black Panther, but I know the Winter Soldier and Captain America, they have the super serum. Okay. Now, when it comes to Wonder Woman, she didn't have no super serums. She just born that way, right? So Wonder Woman is a little faster. Spider-Man is a little faster. than those guys. Okay, Quicksilver definitely, and the Flash, they're light years faster. Superman's a little faster. Okay, super speed. Kryptonians, they adapted to Earth, and so they're a little faster, and they can fly and all of that, right? We see that Wonder Woman she seems to be able to do some flying. Okay, so she will have a little bit of flight as well. So again, when you look at Wonder Woman, she's a lot more stronger than Steve Rogers. Well, not a lot more stronger, but she's stronger than Steve Rogers. She's probably, if she was to have to fight someone, she probably had to fight Thor or the Hulk, or not even Iron Man. She would probably mash up Iron Man's suit. She would just destroy his suit. She's that strong. So, because Thor was basically bending up Iron Man's suit. I think even Captain America was damaging Iron Man's suit. Remember, he was hitting him with the shield and mashing up his suit. So actually, at the end of the day, Wonder Woman would kick Iron Man's ass bad. She would really beat him up. If she wanted to kill him, she could kill him. You know, but she wouldn't kill him. She wouldn't do that. So Iron Man, really, he should pair up with guys like maybe... He did pair up with Captain America, because Captain America was more of a superhuman. Yeah. Again, Tony, you know, has maneuverability. That's what you're looking at, really. But anyway, at the end of the day, Captain America is a super soldier. So when you look at the speed, and then of course all the other things, stamina and intelligence, I think at the end of the day, Diana is, I think, a better tactician than Captain America in terms of fighting. In terms of leadership, I think that Captain America is a better leader than Wonder Woman is. Wonder Woman would, you know, take sometimes some draconian methods to get to the end result. And sometimes Cap would also want to go into war at times, but I think Cap would be more reserved about what measures he takes, and he's a much more reasonable guy. Now, I wanted to show you something else, which is the evolution of these two characters over time. So we're going to look at the same site, which is called Geek Tyrant. And in Geek Tyrant Zone, you have the evolution of Wonder Woman's costume over time, and we also have the evolution of Captain America's costume over time. And it's really interesting how the costume changed with the times. So here's Wonder Woman's costume here. And we've went through this before, but still. This is the evolution of the costume over time. And you get Captain America here, and the evolution of the costume over time. Okay, so first you're looking at 1941. This is the original costume of Captain America. When you look at the original costume of Wonder Woman in 1941, that's what it looked like. Okay, now Captain America's costume, he had those sort of bulky boots, almost kind of like what they would wear in war, men in battle. Okay, you see the shield was first of all looking like this. Okay, but in the same year, Golden Age Captain America, he changed the shield. And in 1944, he actually had no shield. Isn't that crazy? And they changed his outfit costume to one of those Victorian strongmen. They'd wear their underwear on the outside of their costume. So the costume changed. Now, at around about this time, in Wonder Woman's era, she started off with the baggy pants and the eagle motif. This is very important because this symbolizes liberty. So she carried liberty on her chest. There's a symbolism here. He carried the American code, basically stars and stripes. He carried the stripes and the star in the middle of his chest. He did have the eagle motif on top here. That's why the wings are on the head, saying freedom is in my mind. And this is what America's all about, the A. The star is on my chest. Okay, you got it? With Wonder Woman, the motif was a little different. It was about freedom, and it was in a red background to show that if we would have to pay for freedom in terms of blood, but it's a golden thing and it's in the middle of my chest. The star was upon her head. Okay. And then the stars and stripes adorned her all the way through. And she had heels in the first 2 years. In 1949, she changed to a more Grecian appearance, and of course the tights got tighter. But she wasn't a Victorian strong woman. There was no such thing. So her motif was a little bit different. Okay. Notice he had the shield. Wonder Woman didn't have any shield. She just had a lasso. In 1954, Captain America had a different motif. Still Victorian strongman, got back the shield, and basically slight adjustments to the head, but still, again, there is the bird. Freedom is at the top of the head, not in the heart. It's a little bit different. Now, the character actually canceled in 1950. And Stan Lee is the guy that created the character, but it came back in 1954. A reimagining of the character slightly, but still the same motifs. Of course, Stan Lee created this character. In 1964, 10 years later, Jack Kirby, they moved out of the Victorian motif for a minute. So that's 1964. Then they completely reimagined the character in 1974. You know, there's always that time when you go and completely reimagine a character. And the same thing that happened with Wonder Woman. I'm going to show you down here. We had the reimagining of Wonder Woman in 1967. And let me just go across here so I can show you it. There she is there. There it is. 1968, sorry. So in 1941, there she is. That is the original character. And more or less, that character stayed until 68, where you had a reimagining of the character. Okay, so you have the basic character here, 59. This is the basic character, 69, and everything's getting shorter, of course. 68, you had the reimagining. So with Wonder Woman, it was 1968. You had the reimagining there, which was kind of like the suburban Wonder Woman. She also wore a purple dress on the outside, but this was the 60s clothing at the time. And then they moved on to something else. So in 74, they reimagined Captain America, and that didn't last long. So in the midst of the writer Steve Englehart and artist Sal Buscema's best-selling run of Captain America, Steve Rogers gave up being Cap and instead became Nomad. His costume was blue and yellow, not patriotic at all. This lasted for only 5 issues, from 108 to December 74 to 184 April 75. Okay, and then he came back to be Captain America. There he is. Different shield, different outfit. Again, a reimagining somewhat of the outfit. And this was in 79. 2 television movies, Captain America and Captain America 2: Death Too Soon, aired on CBS in 1979. Played as a cross between Steve Rogers and Evel Knievel, and his spandex costume was blue with red and white stripes implying a vest, plus starred boots and gloves. The costume was more faithful to the second film. So there it is. Okay, so they were just messing around with the characters, seeing what they could do and what they couldn't do. Alright, and I was in 79. Of course, we know that in 74, just like with Captain America, we had a reimagining of Wonder Woman, and it came up on TV. This was the reimagining here. Okay, but 75 and onwards to 79, we went back to the traditional costuming, and you can see it right here. 72, 73, we had Super Friends. So we have 74, where it's reimagined. 75, you go back to the original costume. 77, all right, all the way up to 79. 82, it's more or less the same thing. 94, they really jacked that thing high up in the air. Okay, and then 95, they reimagine again. Let's see what happens with Captain America. So with Captain America, we got some variations here. We had in 79, we had a variation. Then 87, we had a variation of Captain America again. So what happened was he fought crime as the Captain. His costume and shield were black, red, and white, which was later adopted by the U.S. agent. Okay. But then in 1990, a low-budget film was completed, and it saw only a limited international release. Captain America was later issued as direct-to-video in 1992. The Cap's costume was surprisingly faithful to the Silver Age suit, but the inexplicable painted plastic airs. But he went back to the original costuming, which was pretty cool. And that was a film on Captain America. In 1995, we had this sort of tech-looking Captain America. a biochemical reaction with the super soldier serum paralyzed, nearly killed Steve Rogers, starting with Captain America. In April 1995, Rogers wore a Stark-developed exoskeleton resembling his Silver Age uniform until he could be cured several issues later. Pretty cool. So something actually happened to Stark. So there's a continuity. And then here he is again as Captain America. But this time, look at the logo here. It's almost like Wonder Woman because it's the eagle logo. See, you got the eagle logo there, and then you got the eagle airs. So this logo you see again, Heroes Reborn. This is 1996 Captain America. Remember, in 1994 with Wonder Woman, we had 1995 we had this different variation of Wonder Woman. But look at the motif. The motifs are basically similar in 1995. Jack this thing way up in the sky. My God. Man. They just disrespected Wonder Woman while Captain America was at least getting some respect. Again, as a man, you see the difference. The man is completely covered. And I see why feminists have a problem with that. Anyway, Heroes Reborn in 1996. We saw that. And then we saw him wielding an energy shield. So his shield now had energy in 1998. Still the traditional suit, more or less. So it's called a vibranium shield. In 2002, we had the Ultimates #1. Mark Miller and the artist Brian Hitch went for a more cinematic approach to Captain America. His World War II costume was a patriotically colored combat uniform with a heater shield. Now, they're trying to get more historically accurate with Captain America, which is very interesting. Alright? Which I find very cool because at around that same time, in 2006, we got a reversion back to the original Wonder Woman. There wasn't much creativity there. Let's see here what we got here. Let's see. So 1979, 1994, right? Okay, so they're just showing you all the changes here with Wonder Woman. So in 1994 we had that outfit, which we saw already, and then 2010 we had a different outfit. So we didn't have anything in between there. So just keeping it moving. 2002, you see the almost classic Captain America here. But this time his boots actually have things to done up. But again, they're trying to get into the period time. And again here, this is a little bit different. It's a different design at the top. No more Victorian wear. You notice that it's just a pants now. The boots revert back to the original boots again. And in 2003, he basically looks more or less like Captain America. In 2008, however, this is Bucky Barnes though. He becomes Captain America. And then in 2010, we're looking at, remember, the early Captain America movie, Captain America the First Avenger, it came out, if I'm not mistaken, in what year was it? I think it's 2011, right? So here we have Bucky Barnes, who became Captain America, and then we have the super soldier, Steve Rogers. That's the super soldier. It really looks cool. I like the suit. It's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of a policeman. You know, one of those Hawaii Five-0 policemen. So this is what it looks like. And then finally we have the First Avenger. This was the movie The First Avenger, which is pretty awesome. And this is basically the original suit and even the original shield, at least to begin with. And then you see him in battle with the shield. And of course he gets the shield from Howard Stark. By the way, Howard Stark was in that movie, which is Tony Stark's dad. He was in the First Avenger. He gets him the vibranium shield. So it actually is a combination of the first issue of Captain America. Which issue would that be? This would be 2002 Ultimates version of Captain America, and then finally we're looking at the Super Soldier version of Captain America somewhat, with the vibranium shield. I think you're looking at Energy Shield Captain America. Okay, it's kind of a crossover there, but it's really awesome that all these Captain Americas were in the First Avenger, and it's kind of a combination of Captain Americas before. All of them sort of different looks of the Captain America. So all that happened over time. Of course, with Wonder Woman, we also had changes in costuming in 2010 and 2011. The New 52 Wonder Woman, which is pretty cool. They tried to make a TV series that backfired, but it's all good. And then in 2015, you got that really battle suit ready costuming. You got this other type of costuming, all I guess New 52 variations, and then we had the final costuming, which is what we currently have today. So you see 2010, you had a different costuming. 2011, you had a different costuming. And then 2016. And she was covered a lot more than she used to be covered. So from, I believe, 1994, more 2010 to 2016, she was kind of getting a respectable covering, finally, you know. In Captain America, he's always well covered. So they just have variations of the theme. Avengers in 2012, this was his outfit. He lost the eagle motif at the top. Eagle motif is lost. So they removed the eagle motif from him. He was here in the beginning, but that was it. It disappeared. Alright. And then in the Winter Soldier, here he is with a different uniform. He kind of reverts back to the original Cap in the Winter Soldier with his second uniform here, which is really awesome. I like this as well. And this makes more sense in terms of boots. Of course, this is Hawkeye. I think this is Hawkeye? Falcon. This is Falcon, which is pretty cool. I love his getup. That's a vibranium shield. In Age of Ultron, there he is again. So it's a combination of the new suit and now functionality. So he looks much more functional as he upgrades. Still the essential elements there, except for the eagle. It's no longer there. And in 2016, you have Steve Rogers. Again, the essentially Captain America like colors and themes. The eagle is nowhere to be found, but that's his costuming. And this is the current version of Captain America. It's the current version of Wonder Woman, which is more functional and makes more sense for the period in time. So they upgraded him to become more modern. You notice the shield is a little bit different again, so they harken back to the first Captain America. So they keep on hailing out the first Captain America a number of times in his outfit, and he has a number of different outfits. Wonder Woman's not the same thing. She's ancient. She's harkening back to way back into time, which is really awesome here. Alright. So I just wanted to show you guys this because Captain America has a different story. He has a different background. He has a different, but his motif basically stays constant. The only thing that he lost in his motif is he lost the liberty. You notice that Captain America doesn't have the eagle on him anymore. I don't see the eagle motif anymore. It was lost somewhere back in 2011 in Captain America the First Avenger. They got rid of that motif. It began with the motif, there it is, with the two wings at the end, and then it completely disappeared, which is a little bit saddening. I hope they go back to it. I hope they go back to that motif at some point in time. And of course, Captain America doesn't really... The First Avenger captured the essence of Captain America, where his values were about liberty, freedom, justice, that kind of thing. That has kind of lost because the Winter Soldier was really about his affinity, his relationship with Bucky, trying to win him back over. And then this third installment was basically about him, again, trying to find a safe place for Bucky and free him. It wasn't about America. It wasn't about their values, even though some of it was shown in the film. So maybe they will bring back the ears or bring back that eagle motif on him somewhere. Because it's very important that they establish that Captain America, he's got that liberty. He's always thinking about liberty. So I hope they bring back the eagle motif in the next Captain America movie. So shout out to you, Kevin Feige. I would suggest you bring back the liberty motif that is necessary for Captain America to be Captain America. Nobody has talked about this, but I just want to mention it because as I was reviewing, that's the reason why I love Captain America the First Avenger more than any other Captain America film. I think the other Captain America films are a follow through on his relationship with Bucky, and it's all well and good and it's cool, but Captain America represents more than that. So I hope that Kevin Feige, this is constructive advice, somebody can get to Kevin Feige. I'm just hoping that the next Captain America film will highlight what Captain America represents. Yeah, there may not be a war to actually fight, but at least we would like to see episodes where Captain America is looking to establish liberty and freedom for all. Just a hint up, a heads up, so we can harken back to the First Adventure. Anyway, on that note, you guys have a great one.